little intro, okay? Fucking bugs. Here we go. All right. What's up, everybody? This is Skylar with Savage Truth 603, and I'm here with my boy Footloose yet again. And boy, do we got some shit to talk about today. Footloose was just arrested, a couple times in the past 2 weeks, maybe?
Yeah, I lost count now. I think tonight was the 6th time.
Yep. So I say let's go through a real brief recap on how all this started. So back in, what was it, maybe November, December, you started organizing protests out at the governor's house opposing the mask mandates and the business closures. And Sununu, being the all-powerful king that he is, had his brother, who happens to be on the Newfields Town Hall, Newfields being the town that he lives in, create an ordinance and have it signed into law that said you could not, quote-unquote, residential areas. So my masterful friend here had an idea that instead of picketing, we would have a candlelight vigil. He organized a candlelight vigil for a December night around 9 o'clock. I believe it was a Sunday.
Yes.
All the demonstrations were on Sundays. So at that demonstration, we were accosted. As soon as we showed up, we were accosted by multiple police officers, state and local. And you can go back on both our YouTube channels and see footage of all that, which resulted in 8 people being ticketed. Well, all 9 people being ticketed, and I was arrested. A couple weeks later, Footloose was also arrested at the same location for similar charges of
disorderly
conduct, and I got I didn't get a resistance.
Trespassing.
Yep, trespassing and disorderly was mine.
Trespassing and disorderly is what it was.
Yep. Excuse me.
That's the tickets. Right?
Let me apologize in advance. I'm getting over my experience with the Rona, so I'll be sure to clue you guys in on that one. But that's a whole different video for a whole different day. So fast forward a couple months, Footloose and I and a couple of our cohorts went through Elm Street allegedly and put up some anti-mask stickers. And we're kind of harassed back and forth by the Manchester Police Department repeatedly over said stickers, and were ultimately arrested.
Tried to turn ourselves in first.
We tried to turn ourselves in.
They said no issue, not a big deal.
We'll call you if there's any charges to be pressed, which they didn't. We found out through the grapevine, really, that we had a warrant for our arrest. So we went and turned ourselves in and documented the whole thing. Eventually, the charges were dropped after some go-around with the prosecutor, the city of Manchester. I think they decided it wasn't a wise path to go down to try to pursue this. So they dropped that. I was tased on another incident by Manchester police for supposedly trespassing when I wasn't trespassing. And then there's been some rallies and stuff, but there's been a little bit of a lull in the arrest category up until about 2 weeks ago, when you attended a budget meeting, right?
Executive council thing about the federal funding to instill a track and trace database, digital passports, and the isolation and quarantine of the unvaccinated upon orders from the federal government.
Yep.
Okay. What does that sound like to you? Concentration camp, anyone?
Right. So why don't you take it from that executive council meeting? Give us a breakdown of what happened there, and the following meeting where you were then arrested again.
Okay. So the first executive council meeting, that's when we actually found out. Therese found out from somebody else, and to me that it wasn't just the track and trace database. Part 3 of that was the isolation and quarantine upon orders of the federal government for New Hampshire to obey. So we were like, oh, hell no. We're going to shut this meeting down. And so they had a intermission between the executive council and the governor was out there. Everybody that was in the room about what was really going on with the isolation and quarantine stuff, right? So another aspect of it was that there was at least 150 to 200 people outside trying to attend this public meeting, and they had them locked out. They only allowed 75 people in per the fire code. And it's like public access means public access.
Fire code doesn't matter.
They could have a fire marshal there.
Yep.
And they could go over fire code, and like they're the people with the fire marshals.
Or hold it somewhere where everybody can attend.
Or hold it somewhere. So because of those two factors, where there was not enough public access, and that, the gravity of the situation with this tracking and tracing and the isolation and quarantine and all that, we said, no, we're going to shut it down. And so everybody, the whole room was chanting, shut it down, shut it down, shut it down.
This was like the headline story for
we made world news with this.
Yes, but it was also like headline story for WMUR and all the local news channels.
Yeah.
There's my boy Footloose in a red shirt.
We know where you live.
We know where you live.
We know where you live.
Don't
and
think
that's
we
not
forgot,
a threat.
boy. Don't think we forgot.
They say, oh, well, that's the threat. No, that's public record.
Yep.
The public officials are our servants. And their addresses are a matter of public record. So the fact that I'm stating public record, because they're to be held accountable to us, the people, we are the highest power in the land.
Yes, we are.
The individual.
That's right.
Right? And we can revoke our consent. So.
Yep.
So that went well. They came out and they were like, we're going to cancel the meeting and blah, blah, blah. So they postponed it for about 2 weeks. Yep.
So they said they were going to cancel the meeting because they felt that their safety, they felt their safety was in jeopardy, because my friend here was chanting, shut it down. So I'm not sure how that correlates to someone feeling unsafe, but this is what you have with these panty-waist bureaucrats who have never experienced real life. They think this is a threat. They don't even understand what a threat is.
And that the threat is this vaccine database and the isolations. I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Yep.
All of us are afraid, and if you're not afraid, you should be afraid. You're not paying attention.
Yep.
And we're the ones that are in fear.
Yep.
And they want to know why we're so upset. Come on now.
You're backing us into a corner, man. It's really that simple. So you got out of that budget meeting, and they said that it was all over the news that they were going to hold a new one in 2 weeks with higher security standards, right?
Right.
So tell us about that.
So this one was held at the police academy, and pretty big room, and I didn't even realize, but this room had more than double the capacity that they actually allowed us. They had it split. The majority of the room was split in half by like a divider.
And unused?
So, unused.
Okay.
And well, we didn't know that because this divider was up, and it's just, you don't know exactly what's back there. But early into, within like a half hour of the meeting, we hear like garage doors opening and all this shuffling behind this curtain,
big partition.
And so I had a good idea what was going on back there, and we were all just peaceful and quiet. We got accosted by Sununu for singing the Pledge of Allegiance. He said, this is a disturbance. Any more disturbances like this? And he's the one that led us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he accosted us for being too enthusiastic about the Pledge of Allegiance.
God forbid you be patriotic.
Yeah, and sing louder than the Fuhrer.
Yeah,
right. So, so that was the start of the meeting, right? And then they're doing their little thing, and they go through all this other stuff that has nothing to do with what most of us are there for. They finally get to that stuff, and they're talking about vaccinating 5 to 11-year-olds or 5 to 17 and all these young kids. And there's some murmurs and whatever, and Sununu waffling and not having any, concrete answers about what's going on. And so we all turned up and stood around and gave the board our backs. The whole
appropriately so.
95% of the room did that. The meeting didn't skip a beat, right? They just kept continuing on, and then Ted Gatzis started saying some good things and pushed. Yeah, and so this is sound. People sat back down to listen to what was transpiring, and then within like 30 seconds of everybody sitting back down, troopers come over to me and Therese and tap us on the shoulders and say, we need to talk to you. And so they bring us out behind the curtain, and behind the curtain there's like at least 40 to 50 state troopers and sheriffs.
Wow.
5 vans, They were ready to arrest everybody.
Yep.
Everybody. And so I'm like, all right, where'd that guy go that said he wanted to talk to me? And so he comes back, and there's all these cops just standing around. And I walk over. I said, oh, hey, yeah, what's up? What's going on? And he goes, you're under arrest. I said, under arrest for what? Disorderly conduct. I said, all right. So they cuffed me up. Once they had me in cuffs, I said, we're under arrest. They arrested us. And I started swearing and saying, shut it down and all that. But then people were like, why are they being arrested? Why are they being arrested? And then they grabbed anybody that asked any question. They grabbed the 70-year-old lady who they meant to grab somebody else from what we gathered here. And they grabbed this 70-year-old lady thinking she was somebody else.
Yep.
And she's like, I didn't do anything. And so she's just trying to figure out why is she being grabbed.
Yeah.
And they bring her out back and they slam her face first into the fucking ground.
What?
Okay. I was already in the van by then.
Yeah.
And they do this. And she's received a concussion. She's been reported to have received a concussion. She's got scrapes and bruises. And yeah, they grabbed Marilyn Todd and her husband. She had her child in her arms. Her husband had just gotten arrested for asking why are they getting arrested, and then they arrest her for saying that's my husband. And it was just like they were just grabbing anybody and everybody, and people were just like, oh my god. And then they grabbed this other lady for no apparent reason, the lady with the red 1776 shirt.
Okay.
They grab her, and yeah, it was absolute insanity.
It was a total of what, 5?
Nine of us. They grabbed 9 people.
Almost like the Newfields 9.
Yeah, exactly. It was weird. It's like my lucky number too.
Yeah.
But the guy John, it was funny. I didn't know exactly what he said, but I seen the video and he was like, "Why are you arresting them? You should be arresting the king or something like that." Oh, it was priceless. You guys got to go find that video. But
so then that led up to today, right?
So kinda, yeah. That's tied in. So today, from what we were just talking about, the tickets, and when Skylar got arrested, and when all of us got tickets, the Newfields 9.
Yep.
Right. So when we got those tickets, the trial dates were for today, and
keep talking.
So the 3 people had trial dates scheduled today, and we tried to join them, which was allowed, agreed to, but then they wouldn't continue the cases to try them all at once. It's very, very weird. So they basically kind of forced us into, 2 or 3 of the people into doing a trial today. So I'm there attending that. I was not having a trial, but halfway through they did a 5-minute like bathroom break or whatever.
Okay. And
I go out to have a sip of my coffee in my car because you can't have drinks in there, and the Newfields police go, Frank Staples, we have a warrant for your arrest. And I'm like, for what? They said breach of bail conditions. So they're saying breach of bail conditions. So they bring me to Rockingham County Jail to book me on breach of bail conditions just for the guy to come there and give me a PR bail. Again. For a thing that you can't get locked up for.
Right.
A Class B misdemeanor.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous.
So this is just a banana republic. This is just a sideshow circus in the courtroom. This is them using their power to push people around and to silence the people that they don't want to hear and to not be accountable and to not have to answer hard questions.
Right. And so here's the other thing. With the executive council meeting, none of us have any complaints.
Right.
None of us have a carbon copy with the officer, the arresting officer, and what we did at the executive council meeting. There are no complaints on file as we know today for any of the people who were arrested.
Really?
No complaints. And I called the state police, and they said to call the director's office. They're the ones that are handling it. I called, didn't get an answer. I got through, and they said, we're somebody going to have to call you back.
Of course. Somebody
got to call you back about that. I said, I want my ticket. I want my complaint. I want my complaint, a copy of the complaint. Where do I go to get a copy of the complaint?
Yep.
What are the business hours? What's the location? Oh, you talking about the arrest report? I said no, because this is what they've been going right to the arrest report, which doesn't have to be filed for 14 days.
Okay.
So they're like, oh, the arrest report. No, the complaint. the thing that initiates the entire legal proceeding.
Right.
Right? So it's a due process of law thing where if there's no complaint,
They can't
there's
just
no
arrest
crime.
it, right.
And none of these cops, I don't believe, I'm hoping that this comes true, and my intuition is correct, that none of these state troopers are willing to put their name on those complaints because they know nobody did anything.
We believe in you.
We believe in you. We
Do
believe
the right
in you.
thing.
I 100% believe and I
Yep.
trust and faith in humanity. It's not about cops. I'm not a
Nope.
back the blue guy, that's for sure.
Nope.
But I'm not a
Anti-cop either.
ACAB guy either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The way I always say it is, I'm not anti-cop, I'm anti-bully. If you treat me with respect, you're going to get the same thing in return. And I know there's a lot of people, a lot of law enforcement officers that actually subscribe to my channel. I'm sure some of them are just out there trying to get information, but a lot of them like what we have to say because they've dealt with us on a first-hand basis,
Right.
and they know we're not after them. This
Right.
has nothing to do with the cops. This has to do with the people that are pulling the strings above the cops. This is the people that are ordering the police officers to break their oath to the Constitution.
They don't even know what it is.
No, they don't even. A lot of them don't.
They don't.
understand
They
the
haven't even
Constitution.
read either Constitution. And
Right.
even if you just read the Bill of Rights
Right.
of of each one, like you gotta get somewhere in there and understand what it is.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, because all the laws come from the Constitution. If you don't know what the Constitution is, how do you know if those laws are valid?
And if you don't understand the Constitution, how can you be expected to properly enforce laws?
Exactly. I actually talked to the cop about that on the way over to the jail. I said, I'm not a defund the police person. I'm a end qualified immunity guy.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it's the qualified immunity that allows for officers to just feel like they can get a free pass and they could violate someone's rights and say I didn't knowingly violate your rights. I was just doing my job.
Yeah.
And the problem is they don't do a test in the police academy for understanding of the Constitution. People need to study the Constitution. If they taught the Constitution in the police academy, then they would be on the hook for violating our rights anytime they did it. But they can claim ignorance of the law. I didn't know. We can't claim ignorance of the law, but they can claim ignorance of the Constitution.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. Come on. Step your game up.
Talk about a double standard there.
Yeah,
it is right
step
there.
your game up now.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So you got bailed and everything's good. So, and as far as like a little update on my situation with the arrest at the governor's house, I have just one of my videos for evidence is 37 minutes long, and it's actually the one that's on my YouTube channel. You guys can go all watch me get arrested at the governor's house and decide for yourself if I did anything wrong that night or if any of us did, because everybody else was ticketed. That's what the court date was for today for 3 individuals. So I was supposed to have my court date, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks ago, and the day of the court date, or maybe the late night beforehand, we got word that it had been continued because my attorney requested a full 3-hour trial because they only booked us for a 30-minute trial, and that doesn't even give us enough time to present one piece of evidence, let alone the multiple pieces of evidence.
Call witnesses, cross-examine, all
Right.
that. I mean, it could be a couple days.
Right. And then,
Especially for yours, because you have way more serious charges.
Yep, and we are fully prepared to take it to a couple days if we need to, because we know in the end we'll be victorious. They don't have a leg to stand on. They violate.
Good. I seen him in action with the Rochelle Kelly trial.
Yeah, that went really well, and I'm looking forward to him representing me for this whole shindig. So what's next, brother?
Just persevering. We got to keep an eye on this 27 million because they are talking about how they might have found that amount in some like backup fund, some like they got 27 million just kicking around that they're going to shuffle over into that.
Yep.
And they're going to still try to accept that and pass it through the fiscal committee.
Oh.
So they're trying some backdoor stuff. We did expect this. We're keeping an eye on it. I mean, go to the We the People Telegram.
Yep.
Is where it's at.
Okay.
We the People, New Hampshire.
Yep.
Telegram. There's a pine tree logo. Everybody. That's like where all the action is.
If you guys know me personally, you can message me on Messenger or you can text me. If you don't know me personally and you want access to these Telegram groups and stuff, put your name in the comments and or message me somehow. I'm on all social media platforms as Skylar Bennett, Skylar Lee, or Savage Truth 603. And
Absolute Defiance.
Absolute Defiance.
So all my Facebook, I'm completely taken down off Facebook. I got disabled. I can't even appeal it. So I'm a little disappointed. I used that for business and volunteering. I managed a lot of different pages over the past 7 years that I've been on Facebook, and so now I'm completely taken off. And my Instagram, my personal Instagram's gone, but I do have the Absolute Defiance Instagram.
Okay.
Absolute Defiance YouTube. Absolute Defiance Twitter just got taken out as well.
Really?
Yeah. I tweeted to Cindy Warmington. I tweeted on her thing. And I got some notification, and then I appealed it, and they emailed me, and they were like, "Oh, we made a mistake. You're all set." And then I try to log in, and it keeps giving me the same notification that I violate. So I don't know what the hell is going on. I actually just heard today that there's like a phone number that politicians can call to the like Twitter, Facebook, and get you taken out and get you shut down, just like that.
I had one of my profiles deleted too, so
assassinated.
We gotta stay vigilant out there. So the way that you guys can help is you gotta get involved with the rallies. We have rallies all the time.
The only way to defeat the censorship is to get out there and people come, they see us. How do we get in? And then you tell them word of mouth. This is how we do it.
Yep. There's always events going on. You can find. Frank does still have access, I believe, right, to post to my Facebook to the.
No,
Truth. You
I
don't?
can't. I have no. Right. I tried to make a backup Facebook from a different device on somebody else's Wi-Fi, and they were like. Bro, they got me.
Yeah, they got me.
They got me, and so I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do.
Well,
but
I will try to make sure those events get put up on my Savage Truth 603 page. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you turn on the notification bell, because I'm going to start going live. Same thing with Frank's page, or Footloose page on Absolute Defiance. He's going to be going live too, and it's important that you share our content and keep us relevant. Keep the algorithms churning. You gotta keep it. It doesn't do enough to just watch the video and tell your friends about it. You gotta interact with it. Hit that like button.
Leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji.
Even
thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever.
Call us stupid. Little flags, emojis, like whatever you want. Anything at all. Like nice shirt, because my shirt's pretty sweet.
Yep.
All that. So like, share, and subscribe. Absolute Defiance, Savage Truth 603. We better see you at the next event, bitches.
Come and get some.
One more thing. Fuck you, Sununu.
Yeah. Impeach Sununu. Go to impeachsununu.com.
impeachsununu.com. You heard it here first. Peace.